Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MLG versus Pro League Invitational. Let's go. Let's just go ahead and jump into game number 2 between Huck and Bisu.
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
Into the game.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it live.
Let's do it live. Here we go. This is game number 2, guys. Of course, Huck is currently up 1-0. His opponent, though, in the bottom left, might have something to say about that. He is the red Protoss player, Bisu. And, of course, Bisu's opponent in the top right-hand location, trying to get himself a nice, comfortable little window here, in the starting moments of this tournament. It's the blue Protoss player, Huck. Whenever you go up 2-0 in the early part of a tournament, it's got to be a lot. It's got to do a lot for your momentum.
Oh, yeah. It's all about confidence. I mean, we talk about the skill sets in this game, the micro, the macro, the tactics, the strategy, etc. But, I mean, really, there's the mental aspect of the game that's so big, too. Yes. And if you're up 1-0 and 2-0, it'll give you that confidence to try out moves that you might not be as comfortable playing with if you were down, and then it gives you an element of unpredictability, and of course that's going to be minding of your opponent. They're going to be playing a little more cautious, a little more nervous, and there's all these factors that can really come into to how a tournament plays out for a certain individual player.
And if you think about what's at stake in this tournament, I mean, Huck's playing against Bisu. I'm sure Huck, he idolized Bisu. Would he be one to idolize Bisu?
Definitely. I mean, the styles are very, very similar. I don't know how much Huck followed the Brood War professional scene, but if he did, I can guarantee you Bisu would have been his guy to watch.
Right, absolutely. Of course, phenomenal control is something both these players are incredibly proud of and incredibly good at. So, let's see what happens here. Of course, the map is going to be Daybreak. Last map, we saw very similar strategies from both these two players. It kind of came down to Bisu, losing a little bit control of a War Prism at his opponent's main base and, tried to follow it up with some aggression, but Huck was able to hold that off and then go for a counter with some Colossi that Bisu really had no answer to. So I'm intrigued to see what both these players do.
Yeah, Huck definitely used a couple unorthodox timings that last game. I mean, that Zealot timing off of you just stay on that very macro-focused build, so if they scout you with Observer, it looks very similar, but you allocate the Chron boost differently, and all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of these Zealots out early, and it can make a really funky timing that I think caught Bisu a little bit off guard, and that might have shaken him a bit, and then he felt he was more behind than he actually was, and so that's why he overcommitted with that War Prism.
I mean, whenever you lose workers in a mirror matchup, it's definitely something, at least me personally, I kind of start freaking out a little bit. I have to counter immediately and do the same amount of damage to my opponent that he did to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you're playing in a different race matchup, you can be like, oh, well, it's okay to be behind because I have force fields. It's okay to be behind the workers. I have mules, or I can larva inject to catch up, whatever it is. But in a mirror matchup, all the tools you have, they have too. So it can be a little bit more anxiety causing when you start falling behind in that work account.
Absolutely. And we see a little bit of a deviation here. Huck opening up with just one gateway, not two. And did Bisu skip his Zealots? I think Bisu definitely skipped his Zealots. So Bisu going for a 2-gate opening, similar opening to last time, but Huck putting down a Twilight Council.
And Huck again was not scouting this game. I think he's just very confident that Bisu's probably not going to be up to any shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that way to play, but I kind of agree with what Huck's doing. But I'm not one to try to imply things or whatever. But it looks like Huck backing up with the Stalker, trying to track down this probe. Doesn't want him to get any additional information. Now, is this going to be Blink seems like a weird build in this map. There's not a lot of maneuverability between the main and the natural.
There's not, but on this map, a lot of people like to expand very quickly. And so a lot of times people take for granted that Blink's not going to be a factor because it's a weaker map. That almost makes Blink a good factor in that regard, just because your opponent might be playing a little bit too greedy. So I think Huck's he's doing these off the, like a little bit of off-track plays, like last game.
Try to throw his opponent off guard a little
Exactly, and I mean, especially with Bisu being so new to StarCraft too. He's like, okay, Bisu's got great mechanics. He's probably studied all the standard builds.
Right.
And he knows how the way people are kind of supposed to play every map, and that's what he's going to be really good at. So I'm going to do some things that are a little bit weird, a little bit off-standard, and he won't react correctly.
I think Bisu's trying to fake some aggression here. I mean, he finished up that pylon at his opponent, started actually going up the ramp here with 3 Stalkers. Huck a little bit unprepared, only has 2 Stalkers and a Zealot. Where are the rest of his units? Trying to change his gateways into Warp Gates, but caught a little bit off guard. But honestly, how much damage can Bisu really do here? I mean, maybe just try to kill some probes at this point?
Well, he's already got a Stalker and a Zealot kill to his name, so that's not too bad.
Yes, not too bad at all. Absolutely.
And he did force some probes off the line, and he lost nothing for it. I mean, I don't think he got too much of his own economy or anything like that.
This is dangerous, though. I mean, Huck's about to finish Blink, and Bisu is going to have a period where he's not going to have Blink, which I think Huck can use to his advantage as far as his opponent's Stalkers are going to be dead if Huck controls it correctly. But
Definitely.
we see these Stalkers from Bisu coming forward here. Huck trying to warp in more and more, but Bisu just has too much. It might not even matter if he is Blink or not. And it's hard to call here. A lot of micro involved. And there's the blink, and Bisu sees that. He's got to be a little bit scared.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Stalkers without blink for Stalkers with blink, that's always a really bad spot to be in. He was able to get a couple kills there while Huck was warping in units, though.
That's good stuff. 850 resources lost there for Huck, 575 for Bisu. So Bisu definitely a little bit ahead in that regard. Workers tab, 27 to 25 in favor of Huck. We'll have to see when's the expansion going to come. That's what I'm a little bit intrigued about. Are we going to see that soon?
I don't think so. I mean, Huck's pretty much going 4-gate blink, so as soon as he builds that 4th gateway, that shows the intention to really...
There's no workers being made either by these players.
Yeah, there's no workers being built. Huck's going 4-gate blink. He's definitely going to come at Bisu. Bisu's heading to robotics, and he's staying on 3 gates, so this could be adding in some immortals to the composition, or maybe even wants to expand himself.
All right, we see both these players coming to the middle of the map. Huck taking that watchtower control, blinking forward. Bisu backing up with all of his stalkers into his main base. Again, as you said, adding on that robotics facility. Might see an observer coming, maybe an immortal eventually. The thing about blink, and when you know your opponent has blink, like whenever you get an immortal, it's going to be cost efficient.
Exactly.
Provided you micro it correctly.
Yeah. And especially if you're guarding top of your ramp, which is Bisu is trying to do right here.
Oh, Huck trying to do a little bit of micro there. Has to be careful though, because now Bisu has blink. But
at least Huck knows that now. I think this is up until now, Huck didn't really know how Bisu was following up that stalker aggression. So now he knows there's no expansion, at least not a natural. He's going blink, so it's going to be a blink mirror, and that's probably what Huck likes, because that's one of his specialties.
Yeah, of course, blink versus blink is one of the most fun things to watch, one of the hardest things to commentate. But yeah, Bisu taking position outside of his natural expansion. Looks like he's positioning himself to potentially take a Nexus sometime soon. Huck taking a Nexus of his own. And now we're in that stage similar to last game where they both have those robos out. What's the next step? When are they going to go for Colossi? Are we going to see a Warp Prism? It should be interesting to see what these two players do from here.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options here. This is one of the hardest spots of playing PvPs because you don't know, should I add in more probes, or should I tech to Colossi, or should I just make units? Is he going to come at me? And especially Huck having thrown that crazy little off-time timing at Bisu the last game, Bisu might be more hesitant, and if Huck could take advantage of that by investing more in economy and tech. We see here he's already throwing down that support bay, and I don't think Bisu's going to tech anytime fast. I think he's going to be a little bit scared of Huck coming at him.
It's all about that scouting, and I think Bisu might have just lost an observer outside of his opponent's natural expansion. I just want to see exactly what he saw here. Okay, he did not see that robotics bay.
Yeah, I think his observer did get sniped off there.
Yeah, and now we see Huck coming across. Oops, that was a mistake. I meant to hit vision. There it is. There's the V button. Oh, misclicks are so much fun. So yeah, Huck going across the map with that observer, and let's see what he finds out. He doesn't know much. He doesn't know much at all here, Axelot.
Yeah, I mean, when both players have Blink Stalkers and Observers, it's pretty hard to get a scout in there, especially both these players, I'm sure, are scanning constantly around their vision, trying to find that blur of their opponent's Observer, trying to pick that guy off.
All right, yeah, Bisu can smell it, and there's the observer from Bisu. I think he's going to get this. Yes, he absolutely is. Even blinking underneath, didn't even have to do that, but said, you know what, Huck? I'm going to blink underneath and take down your observer. Huck moving some probes to his natural expansion. Income tab shows 33 to 31. So both kind of cautiously making probes. It's not like they're really investing into that probe production. We see Huck with Colossi on the way as well. Are we going to see some sort of a Colossi timing attack?
I mean, almost if you're going Colossi and they don't, there's no reason to attack. Just wait until you have even more, and then you're almost sure to get ahead.
Yeah, and like take a third and just play.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to like 4 or 6 Colossi, they don't have Colossi yet. They're in really big trouble unless they have like mass carriers or something crazy. But obviously, Bisu's not gonna get that up. So I mean, Huck.
You never know.
All Huck has to do is hang back, use his Nexus as a partial shield maybe, and he's definitely gonna get pretty far ahead as time goes on. The question is will Huck realize that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, he's actually posturing in front of the Nexus, which does give Bisu a little more position to move around, a little more options to come in from attack angles. So it definitely, Bisu has some options to attack here. I think Huck isn't quite realizing what's going on quite yet.
Now, Bisu doesn't have any massive units, so Huck can use force fields to keep his opponent away.
Yes.
Because Bisu has no ability to really crush those force fields. So I have to see how Huck utilizes that. Bisu positioning himself outside of his opponent's natural expansion. 3 Immortals, plenty of Stalkers coming forward. Huck needs to throw down the force fields. Where are there? Oh, 2 force fields actually coming down from Bisu. Huck trying to be cost efficient with that Colossus. Bisu with really good control there, spreading out his units to try to minimize the splash damage from that Colossus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bisu's trying to find a way to get up this ramp. He's doing a really good job, but he's got all these Immortals, all these Stalkers. He doesn't really have an answer for the Zealot count that Huck has.
Yeah, I think he's trying to slowly but surely pick away at that Zealot count because obviously the Stalkers and Immortals are ranged. He just back. Oh no, he's actually going to blink forward and try to target fire on the Colossus, and he gets it, trying to target fire down the Immortal as well. But the Zealot's doing so much damage to those Stalkers. Huck blinking forward to Stalkers to target fire the Immortals from Bisu, and it's hard to tell who's going to come out on top here. Both these players extremely close in supply. Another Colossus coming forward here from Huck. I think he even has Thermal Lance, if I saw that correctly, and Bisu has an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Huck was thinking, blinking his Stalkers into the Mortals. So that was a little bit interesting of a choice there. But he still has a Zealot count that's going to be hard for Bisu to deal with.
We see Bisu blinking up to the ramp here, trying to find those Colossus. Huck trying to position his Colossus a little bit further back, does not want that to get targeted down. Great control from both these players, to be completely honest. And this Colossus might go down very low in HP, and there it goes. But at the sacrifice of all those Stalkers. So Bisu is going to back up. I just want to look at the income tab really quick. 41-31 in favor of Bisu. So as this game goes along, Bisu's army is just going to get stronger and stronger. And Huck is always going to be on the defensive here. I'm a little bit scared for Huck at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's got. I mean, now he's finally getting into good position, right? Where he's using that Nexus to kind of wall himself in, and a Colossi shooting over that small choke is going to continue to do damage. Whereas Bisu's going to have a lot of his guys shooting buildings a little bit distracted. So if Huck just bunkers up here and holds on, I think he's in a good position.
Just play methodical.
Yeah, exactly. But if he walks out again like he did earlier, he cannot afford to do that.
All right, we'll see what happens here. Bisu still trying to find some places to do damage. Just going to blink up into the main base. I love this decision, and this is going to force Huck to come out a little bit.
Yeah.
But now Bisu's Immortals are all on their own. They're going to run as fast as they can from those Zealots. One Zealot like, oh, run away.
He'll sacrifice himself.
I'll sacrifice myself. But Bisu getting some Stalkers in the main base, unfortunately, though.
A lot of probe kills going down.
But these Stalkers are all trapped.
Let's see if they can sneak their way out there. It's looking pretty grim to them now, but wow. Blinking on that Colossi.
Oh, it's really far down in HP, down to 37 HP. Stalker's going to target down some probes. Are they going to get out? Are they going to get out alive? I think they might be able to. No, BC's going to trap them, but did these Stalkers pay for themselves? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, how many probes did they get there? They got quite a few in the main, quite a few more going down in natural. 25. How many probes does Huck even have left at this point?
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean,
yeah,
Huck,
they paid for themselves.
Yeah.
Huck has to push and win right now.
Yeah, he does. But, I mean, Bisu doesn't really have an answer for this Zealot Colossi combination at the moment.
No, you're absolutely right. And let's see what happens here. Huck going to be surging across the map here. Lots of Zealots, 2 Colossi, plenty of Stalkers. Got a Sentry mixed in there. Bisu backing to his side of the map. He just has to buy himself time. Get himself in a nice position and just get a bunch of units on the field. And then try to get rid of the Colossus early. Because once you can get the Colossi out of this composition, it becomes a lot more manageable for Bisu.
Exactly. I mean, with his vastly superior income, he could just crank out Zealots once he gets rid of those Colossi, and he can match Huck's Zealot count. But without getting rid of those Colossi, any Zealots he makes are going to die much faster than Huck's. All
right, here we go. Huck coming up the ramp here. One Immortal getting a little bit over-eager, over-anxious. But Bisu going to turn around with just his Immortals and his Zealots. Huck is going for the win here. He has to because he has no economy behind this. Bisu has a bunch of Stalkers here pulling pretty much every single one of his pros, blinking for the Stalkers to try to take care of the Colossus. One goes down, and another is going to fall. So Huck left with only Stalkers and Zealots. That's exactly what Bisu wanted. But the question is, has Huck done enough damage here to take out Bisu?
Yeah, I mean, Bisu would have to pull probes. He lost quite a bit, and Huck still has a large army going for him.
Oh, Huck trying to blink up to the high ground, perhaps. A lot of probes falling. Again, Huck doesn't have any probes behind this, so Bisu desperately trying to get more and more units on the field, but Huck blinking up the ramp now, blinking up into his opponent's main base. I think Huck might be on the verge of 2-0ing the Protoss legend Bisu and putting himself in a very good stance in this tournament, the regular season, and it looks like he might be able to do it. Bisu down to 26 supply, and Huck just has way too much. I don't see what Bisu does from here.
Yeah, I mean, he's facing blink Stalkers or probes. That's never a good situation. Huck's not one to mess up a blink micro.
Wow. So Huck with the 2-0 on Bisu. I'm a little bit impressed. That's pretty darn cool to see. So the first matchup we have of MLG versus Pro League, the MLG guy takes it, and Huck goes up 2-0 in the seedings, and Bisu's going to fall to 0-2. Did you have something you want to point out in the replay?
Yeah, let's actually take a look at this last battle here again. If you look at this, Bisu's not even that far behind in total army value. The problem is he's Colossi. And unfortunately, all his Stalkers he's got them pinned back here where they're going to have a very difficult time blinking up. I think if he had his Stalkers positioned, maybe he ran them up this way instead, and then they could blink in from the back and get a really good angle on those Colossi early. He could do much better, but as it plays out...
Did he have a bigger blink Stalker count? than his opponent throughout?
He had a few more. Or actually, they had almost exactly the same. But of course,
yeah.
he has the Immortals. So if these Stalkers here, before he lost his Zealots and some of these probes, they blinked in a little more directly into Colossi, then after killing the Colossi, they could have backed away. Unfortunately, in this position, their lives were all forfeited, and the Colossi had still done their damage. He's left with almost nothing. There's so many Zealots still left.
Yeah.
And from there, it's just all over.
I think if Bisu had somehow kept his Stalkers alive, that he lost in his opponent's main base, and those were still a part of his army. When your opponent, who has majority Colossi, is coming across the field, you can use your Stalkers to try to out micro or outmaneuver your opponent. Try to pick off Colossi, try to pick off a Stalker here and there. Just try to delay your opponent as much as possible, because I feel like at this point, the longer the game goes along, obviously Bisu had a great economy.
Yeah.
Can just pump out more and more units. You want to delay as much as possible your opponent getting across the map.
Even one more minute, he could have gotten his own Colossi out, and 2 more rounds of work.
Absolutely.
That would have been enough to seal the defense.
Wow, very cool series, very cool matches. I hope you guys are enjoying the early stages of the MLG versus Pro League Invitational. Well, that's just match 1 of the day. We have so many more matches coming at you. Of course, next is going to be Jaedong versus Naniwa. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to have a quick break, and we'll be back with Game 1 between Jaedong and Naniwa.